street downtown, the discomfort I felt toward the solemn, almost stranger in front of me, who I somehow knew had been ostracized from the family, was wrapped around that awareness. Even the gesture he made in that awkward and almost wordless sidewalk encounter, taking off his watch and giving it to me, draping it over my skinny wrist, I can still see it hanging there, with a weight to it that wanted to pull me down to the pavement, felt ominous in its inappropriateness. It telegraphed that here was someone who was used to outsized acts, to ignoring the norms. But I had no idea what that meant, no idea who he was really. I didn't want to learn more, and I never did. No doubt partly because Frank had lived for so long out of town, outside the circle, he hadn't hugged the silence into himself. Strutting the streets of his hometown, a teenage bookie with a pocket full of money who'd just dropped out of high school and was proud to be in on the action. Those were golden memories for him. It's also true that he was just an open kind of guy. Some people are natural excavators of the past, blessed or cursed with the conviction that if you haul memories up into the light of day, they will glow like gems and be worth something. Frank's about to go back up to the mic, but he presses me one more time, tossing out a few lurid details about back in the day, oblivious to the awkward suffering of the others. I turn to my dad, the mobster's son, expecting to find a look of censure that will help me to end this. There's something in his eyes, but it's almost a glint, an eagerness. I find it embarrassing, like seeing a parent naked. Pondering for half a second, I realize I shouldn't be surprised. My father has always been more daring than me, willing to jump into things, to risk making a fool of himself. I shake my head confidently at Frank. Not my thing. He gives me a look. What do you mean? You write history. This is American history. It's right in front of you. He's getting personal now, telling me how to do my job. And just for a second, the marketable outline of my grandfather's world spreads across the front of my brain like a banner ad, the kind of thing you could sell to your publisher. Everybody knows the mob, but nobody knows the story of the small-town mob, how it was as much a part of mid-century American life as the hot dog, how, just like the interstate highway system, it stitched together the Schenectadys and Scrantons, the Zanesvilles and Topecas, the Wichitas and Amarillos and Fresnos. You could make a case that this was the real mob story, maybe in a way the real American story of that era. In the same instant, I get a glimmer, too, of how our family fits into that broad picture. As Frank is waiting for me to say something, I have in my head the image of the somber man in a baggy gray suit, forcing his watch on me, along with a few other shavings that the magnet of my childhood brain pulled in. A second image, borrowed from my dad's memory, of stacks of money arrayed across the surface of a bed. Men talking about the boys, and me knowing they were not boys like me. The boys downtown. The boys in Pittsburgh. In my grandmother's basement, a large cage with dice in it, which had a handle for turning it, and me half-heartedly trying to play with it, but knowing it wasn't a toy. But no, I can't do this. I know, standing there, that at the center of this story is this dimly lit figure of my grandfather, which means that it would involve my long-suffering grandmother, with whom I spent so many summer days in my early childhood, sympathetically studying her solitude and bitterness out of the corner of my eye, sitting skinny-legged on her sofa, pretending to read comic books while she peered beyond at the soap operas on the TV, chain-smoking pell-mells and reflexively pouring from a quart bottle of Schmidt's beer into a tiny glass. Such a story would gather her up into it. In all likelihood, the research would lead me to the source of her pain, and the pain, like a stain, would spread. I give Frank a patronizing smile and shake my head again. Not interested. Too much on my plate. And anyway, my subject area is further back, long ago, far away.